Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gail Morgan welcoming you to the Libertarian Counterpoint's Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. You've heard their point, now listen to the counterpoint.
Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. I am Leon Brathwaite, the last word in liberty. I'll be your host today. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in our society at the present time. I'm coming to you on June 30th, 2021. We are just 4 days away from our 245th anniversary of the founding of our republic. Before I go any further, let me introduce my panel to you. In my upper left-hand corner is our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett.
Yeah, caught drinking my coffee here. Here's my Second Amendment cup here.
Drinking his coffee with his Second Amendment
cup. Second Amendment. Yeah, I got caught as the show came on.
Yes. In our upper right-hand corner is our champion of choice, Jason McPhee. He's an engineer with the state of California. So let us get into the topics. Today, since we are so close to Independence Day, 245 years since the Declaration, we'll focus this episode on independence and some of the liberty issues that's associated with our independence. When the Declaration of Independence was written, Thomas Jefferson, who was the primary author of the Declaration, wrote these words: "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." However, when those words were written, there were some major contradictions ongoing in the society at the time. Number one, women could not vote, and they would not do so for another 150 years. And most of all, most blacks were enslaved. So the question that we have to answer today is our society broken beyond repair because of those contradictions that existed? Or did our founders leave us with tools and mechanisms to resolve these contradictions? Or is this American experiment a journey of liberty, where eventually we will get to that place where life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness can be truly exercised and truly enjoyed by all Americans? Jason, why don't you lead us on this?
Well, I kind of like the way you phrased that as a journey of liberty, because I think that's what you really have to see this in the context of. Ever since I guess primitive man first came out. Oh, yeah, volume. Okay.
Yeah, your volume's a little down.
Yeah, ever since primitive man first came out. I mean, that was we've been, I guess let's put it this way. Adam Smith and the Wealth of Nations didn't really come along until 1776, which is actually when we celebrate our independence.
Yes.
And that should be taken as something noteworthy, that it took us that long to realize that central planning and having one guy decide everything for everybody from the top, or some thug with a club, if you go back far enough, I guess, to caves and such. Either way, it took us that long to realize that we were so much, I guess, wealthier as a society if we engage people from the bottom up and let people make choices for themselves, and that the economy does so much better in doing that. And I think that's the roots of a lot of what the founding fathers were looking at when 1776 rolled around, because Adam Smith was writing this stuff. He was a moral philosopher. He's considered the founder of modern day economics. And you can bet those guys like, Ben Franklin and others were aware of him as they were writing this stuff. The idea that everything wasn't perfect. Well, the world wasn't perfect at that point, I guess it's don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. The idea that you have to make a leap to perfection all at one moment just seems kind of, I think, Monday morning quarterbacking, I guess. Yes, we could have done better, but that's what we're trying to do every day. We're trying to do better, and we're trying to, get, move towards liberty. And I think libertarians would definitely say we still have a ways to go. But it's definitely movement in the right direction. I think the founding fathers were definitely one of the best movements we've had towards that liberty.
So Tim, is it a journey of liberty?
Well,
are we broken?
Yeah, you had three options there. I'm going for the last option right now, probably because I've had my coffee, but I am bipolar about this question. I vacillate day to day, hour to hour between sheer depression regarding the future of the country and elation at little things here and there that give me hope that we have a future that will be that would indicate the answer was your last answer, that we're slowly progressing toward liberty, as much as it doesn't look like it, especially after the mask mandates and the shutdowns and all that. So I think there's a quandary. We took an established institution, slavery and women not voting, and we usurped that through the process, even though the process included war that killed a significant number of the population. Okay, so let's apply that to another institution that exists today, and that is the institution of war, constant, never-ending, unconstitutional war. Okay, so if we took our principles of liberty for all and applied it to the women voting and to slaves being emancipated, let's apply that same concept with the Constitution as our guide to this worldwide dominance of one country, the United States, worldwide, that has carte blanche anywhere they want to go, no matter what they want to do, no matter who they want to kill. And let's apply that and continue the process, even though prior, when we first started, well, I guess, we were too weak, right? So we had to get strong. We had, so all kinds of things happened. The industrial age, we had massive increases in productivity nationwide and in our the ability to create wealth, because of the things that Jason came up with. Now that put us in a position where, hey, let's just boss everyone in the whole world around it. The Constitution does not have anything giving us the power to do that. We don't care. We're going to do it. And we have tons of people in the society of the United States making money off of our war making. So let's apply the same principles.
Okay, yeah, I hear your point, but the ability to declare war is constitutional.
Oh,
it is. It's in one of our founding documents.
Oh, for sure, but we're not using it. When was the last time Congress declared war? That went on. We're in Afghanistan 20 years. Okay, who declared war on Afghanistan? Who? Was it Congress? No. There was an authorization for the use of military force that had been that is continuing, even though there's nobody left that attacked the Twin Towers. There's no one left that supported that. attack on the nation that day. Nobody left. Yet still the authorization for use of military force, 20 years old, 60 words, 1-page document, as allowing us to go here, there, anywhere, do whatever we want and kill whoever we want.
Okay, let's not get too far off topic. We have a lot.
You're right.
We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's try to keep on track here.
Right. That's all I'm saying is that okay, we killed off 2 established whatever I called them before, slavery and women vote. We killed them off with the Constitution, even though they existed before we even came up with this document and the Declaration of Independence. So now that we've got this document and we've had it, we still have, let's just apply the same principles. That's all I'm saying. And stick to the Constitution when it comes to bombing people in dark-skinned people in Mideast countries. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. Well, the journey of liberty, I think, continued throughout our history, the 245 years to which I'm referring, even though there are some history prior to the 245 years. But that journey of liberty continued. In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which ended slavery in the United States. But it did not totally do the job, because it was not until 1865 that Gordon Granger, who was a U.S. Army general, announced in the state of Texas that slavery had ended. This was done on the 19th of June, 1865. Thus we have Juneteenth, which is a celebration of the spread of liberty and freedom to our fellow citizens who are Black. So, Tim, what do you think about this? Is Juneteenth a good thing, a bad thing, or political correctness on steroids?
Yeah, no, I think no, I don't think so. I think it's historic. I think it's a good day to celebrate. I doubt that I'll be getting that day off, but that's okay. I mean, I don't get a lot of days off. Okay, I don't get President's Day off either, which is probably a good thing because I don't worship those guys anyway. But anyway, but hey, if the federal government takes the day off, that means there's less time for people. I'm being kind of silly here, but there's less time for people to make laws that are telling me to do something I don't want to do or not do something I do want to do. So I like them taking a day off. I think they ought to take the whole week off, actually. But seriously, yeah, no, that's fine with me. I think we'll do just fine with, governments taking it off. And if employers want to give their employees the day off to celebrate a really important holiday, that's great. I might, I probably won't get the day off, but if I did, I'd fly the flag. Or if it was the day I was off, I'd fly the flag on Juneteenth because it's a great American holiday, in my opinion.
Jason?
Yeah,
I think that the idea of having a holiday around liberty is actually a good idea, and the idea of that June 19th is when the final slaves realized they were free. Certainly that could be the day, whether it be the date that Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation or whatever. Whatever day. I think it's Texas had already made this a holiday in the past. So
yes, it did.
So it kind of it made that the home favorite for just being the date. But to me, the only thing I guess I would just caution is that I would hope that the focus of the holiday is on liberty, and the idea that it's a celebration of human freedom and not a celebration of, or I guess a chance to bring up division, which is, I think, certainly the motives of some people who, in this country right now, who appear to be trying to find every effort they can to seed more division. But certainly the idea that, this was a big step for liberty in this country. I don't see anything wrong with, having a holiday for that. But, then again, I also, think too that it's kind of funny that we have to wait for the government to tell us this is a day that we have to celebrate. I mean, the idea of just, well, Nancy Pelosi said we can celebrate today, so I guess
that's
we're
a good
all good
point.
with celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah, good point, Jason. Just to add, I mean, in addition to liberty, I mean, something I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but historically, when the slaves realized that they were free, there was a general and prevalent urge to reunite families that had been divided by slavery.
Yes.
Okay, so that's true. And
that is very true. That is very true, actually.
Yeah. So in addition to celebration of liberty, it's a celebration. Juneteenth is a celebration of family, because what do people do when families are torn asunder by the lunacy and the crime of slavery? Is they try to get back together with their family members, and that's an important tradition. I was going to say American tradition, but it's a human tradition to be associated with family, and it's important. And so there you have it.
Very good, guys. Good points. Good points all around. So the next topic we'll jump onto is about attacks.
Before we leave this, Leon, what do you think of June 19th?
There you go.
What is you think my opinion is more important than your guys's?
No, but it's just equally important.
Exactly. Well, I like what the president of the Heritage Foundation said, and I linked the article, and she said that essentially I don't have a direct quote. She said that this is a great celebration of freedom and liberty, and I think that's what it is. That the Emancipation Proclamation and which was a great document as far as I'm concerned, in terms of liberty in the United States, I think Juneteenth was just a continuation of that, and so I think it was a wonderful thing, and I think we should celebrate it. But Jason, I think you're correct. You're very correct, and it's one of my fears about Juneteenth, in the sense that it will become a holiday more of division rather than a celebration of liberty, and I want it to remain as a celebration of liberty. I really do. Okay, could I go on now? Could we go on? Okay, looking at the time here, let's jump around. I did include some people who fought for liberty and who were seeking liberty. The runaway slave is a very good typical example of that. Cassius Clay, not the famous boxer, was a man who fought for liberty, even though he came from a slave-owning family. But I don't think we have time to go deep into discussion of any of these men or some of the people who did fight for liberty and actually put their life on the line for liberty, even though there are things that we probably should discuss. But let's talk a little bit about attacks on liberty. One of the things that is Juneteenth have now produced is a politicalization of the celebration. In Evanston, Illinois, they have canceled all gatherings because of the COVID. That's what they said. And they have also canceled any July 4th, which is our Independence Day, any July 4th gatherings or celebration. However, they are permitting Juneteenth celebrations, and they are permitting Pride celebrations for the LGBTQ community. I find that problematic, and this probably gets back to that issue you raised, Jason, about divisions. So what do you guys think about this?
Well, I have a question, first of all. Is it a democratically controlled city?
I do not know that for certain, but if I am a betting man, I would bet yes.
You mean Team Blue City.
Team Blue. Yeah, I bet it is too. Yeah, I mean, Juneteenth has passed, but they were complaining they didn't have enough time to get the permits ready for the fireworks and so on. Well, okay, Yeah, you can't have fireworks then because you got your stupid permit process to go into. It's like, okay, go ahead and just say, you know, we're not going to have fireworks, but you can do whatever else you want. You can have your sparklers and, you know, so on. And yeah, I mean, but to just say, oh, no, we can't have that, but we can have these other things. No problem. Not worried about being a super spreader event at the poor, you know, the poor, unfortunate gay community that is going to, you know, spread the disease amongst themselves willy-nilly because we don't care about them. But, oh, my goodness, we can't celebrate the 4th of July. Seriously. I mean, you know, that's essentially what they're saying. So stop. And you're idiots. So stop this and just allow the 4th of July.
Jason.
Well, you know, I think it's the ultimate irony that, you know, we have government, I guess, oppressing us on on the day when we're supposed to be celebrating our liberation from oppressive government.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Drips with irony, does it not?
Yes.
Yeah, like that Constitution cup you had earlier.
Yes.
There it is, right there. The people.
Yeah, but you know, that brings it back to what we were talking about at the beginning. And I mean, I think that the founding fathers, they set an incredible framework for us to have a journey toward liberty. But just because we've got that framework doesn't actually mean that there aren't going to be a lot of forces trying to derail us. And I mean, I think if nothing else, this last year should have taught us that with COVID, the idea that so many people on both Team Red and Team Blue literally were absolutely okay with throwing out individual liberty for safety. It was not even a discussion at the beginning. And, you know, everybody was afraid, and people on both sides, it was certainly more on Team Blue, but I mean, there wasn't much resistance from Trump in the beginning or many Republicans to shutting things down and just taking away people's freedom of association right off the bat. And we've got a lot of scary precedents that this has set, and where we're going in the future with this. And of course, you know, people who are always pushing for the spread of government, there's always an incentive for that. And so it really behooves us to try and I guess keep that value for liberty and try and spread it to the people we know. Because I mean, there's so many more people out there who are comfortable just asking for stuff from government and asking for government to take care of them, and at the expense of all of our liberties.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to touch real quick. We run out of time here, but I want to touch real quick on the case of the McCloskeys in of St. Louis. During the summer riots, some BLM, Black Lives Matter protesters broke down the gate, the private gate, and got onto the private property of the McCloskeys in St. Louis. The McCloskeys retrieved their guns and drove them off. However, they were charged. They were charged with felonies. They recently accepted a plea where they will be convicted. They'll be convicted of misdemeanors, and they'll have to give up the 2 weapons that they use in defending themselves and defending their property. So the question then is: protecting states in their property systems gone?
You froze there right at your question.
Yeah.
I said, is protecting their property a crime in the United States? And since this involved guns, Tim, please go ahead.
Well, usually it is. Yes. I mean, you cannot, somebody can jump into my car and take off with it, and I cannot run out after them and start shooting at them. No, I can't do that. In fact, I could be, they could come into my house. If I had the door open, for example, they didn't break in, they come over and said, I just want your TV set, and started carting it out the door. And I don't mean you any harm, Mr. Homeowner. I'm just taking your television set. Okay. I have insurance for that. I can replace the TV set, but I can't shoot somebody over that. So no. But property rights do not trump the life of somebody, even the criminal that's trying to steal your property in most states of the United States. So, so that would be a solid, easily understood no. Texas has a little bit more leniency there and does allow, at least that one state for sure, does allow defending your property. And,
okay, let's give Jason a chance to comment real quick. Jason, please, quickly.
The only quick shot I would take is that these may be the laws in these places, but as far as what's correct for liberty, I think people do have the right to stand in front of their property. I mean, in the end, your self-ownership of you is the most fundamental private property right that you have, and our labor and the things that we acquire with that is just an extension of that. And if the state was able to just take all of your goods from you and essentially make you a slave, which is what we've been talking about also today, then at the end it's not just property. In the end, that's your labor, and that's your so at some point you do have the right to stand up and defend yourself if you think you're threatened. But with the McCloskeys, it's people were it's hard to say how fearful you should have been if you weren't there, I guess, because
Well, yeah. I mean, Leon asked if you can defend property, and I answered that question the best I know. Can you stand in front of your house to a mob and brandish weapons? I would say that there might be better tactical methods of defending yourself, but you certainly should be able to do that. So I don't see any issue other than the fact that they were pointing the weapons at kind of themselves and the crowd and everybody else. So, I kind of find that problematic. But you can, certainly, and again, we're not talking tactics here. You can certainly do that. And it doesn't put you in a good light if there is a self-defense shooting, by the way. But
the question still remains, though, Tim, and this is where I think I'm going to align here with Jason, is that if someone walks into my home uninvited, or somebody walks onto my property uninvited, why the hell I can't shoot them?
Well, because there has to be 5 prerequisites for self-defense to be an excuse for a homicide. So you're talking about a homicide there. Yes, I'm assuming, or potential homicide. In other words, if you shoot somebody, you got a good chance of killing them. Okay, so, but just because they're in your house, and I can give you an example that's just perfect. Let me do it real quick. Neighbor boy is about 19 or 20 years old, lived at home, mentally deficient, walked his house, went over to a neighbor's house that looked the same neighborhood, tract homes, went inside. The homeowner, I think he was an instructor for a self-defense instructor, pulled his 9mm and yelled at him to get out of the house. The kid stood there just dumbfounded. Everything looked different. And who's this guy yelling at me? I'm supposed to be in my house. He turned around, walked outside of the house, and here comes his father pulling up in a car going, oh my God. And it turns out, okay, this is the neighbor boy, and he got out. Okay. And he wasn't supposed to. And he's a full grown man. And, so the guy held back, did not shoot. Okay. So there's a perfect example. You have to have somebody that has the means and is trying to kill you. So in other words, some little 5 foot tall, skinny chick that's crazy and has no weapon is one thing. Maybe you don't need to shoot her, but you see what I'm saying? There's all kinds of variables. You need 5 things, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, but they all entail your life is threatened.
Unfortunately, Tim, we have to leave it right there. We have reached the end of our show. Happy Independence Day.
Fast.
Yes, it came fast. Yes, happy Independence Day to all. Remember, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is our goal. Stay free. Thank you for being here.